What is going on, everyone? This is Nate the Great coming to you live from the All Sports All Plays Network. This is I'm Nate the Great. Beside me is Greg Hot Seat Galno. Greg, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good tonight, Nate. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well. I mean, we addressed the need in the draft today. We also are winning right now, 4-1 against Boston out of all teams, and at home, which we struggle at home. Man, today's honestly a great day. Um, but the past show was about the draft. This show is actually just about baseball, and we're gonna start off the day with baseball, a little bit of baseball Jeopardy. For those of you that don't know, new to the show, whatever, baseball Jeopardy is where I ask a question. If he gets it wrong, uh, if he gets it wrong, or Ray is normally on here, but he can't because he's actually at the draft right now, draft coverage over in Jacksonville. Um, well, basically the pick goes off of popular vote, and if that pick is wrong, that's one out, three outs, and then the game's over. However, I'm going to toss something in there this time, and because I felt like the last time just went way too long. We're going to do 15 questions max. We're not going to go past that 15 question limit. So the first question is just I can find that up here. Um, it's still loading. Who was inducted into the Minnesota Twins Hall of Fame in the class of 2004? A. Tom Kelly. B. Paul Molitor. And C. Errol Beatty.
Um, I'm gonna say Tom Kelly.
And that's a strike. When is the Indians' first appearance in the World Series? 1923, 1925, or 1920?
I'm gonna go with 1925.
Okay. And that is another strike. The correct answer is 1920. What is the most recent rookie pitcher to win a World Series game? Noah Syndergaard, Madison Bumgarner, or Michael Wacha?
Madison Bumgarner.
That is Noah Syndergaard. That's three strikes. All right, so that ends the first segment. That was really fast.
Did you say he won a World Series?
Who's the first rookie pitcher to win a World Series? Madison Bumgarner. I mean, not first. What was the last one?
Oh, I don't remember Noah Syndergaard winning a World Series.
All right. So, comment. We do have a comment. Not anything important though. So that goes into the next topic. Um, the next topic is actually we're going to be talking about just a quick recap of last week. Um, we'll do a quick recap of today's games, which I'll pull it up real quick. First one I'm going to talk about here, the one that uh, first game I'm going to talk about is Orioles. They won a home game today against the New York Yankees. They won 4-3. What were your thoughts on that game?
Well, I think that the New York Yankees had been finding themselves as of late. I know that they got off to a horrendous start. They've been picking up the pace a little bit this last week. But, Baltimore, I mean, they're still probably going to be last in their division, but there's moments where they show some really great signs of life. They're a scrappy team. They're figuring out how to win games and finish off games late in the game, which is something that they haven't done that well, for the last couple seasons, is putting games away. So it was nice to see that the Orioles get a win at home, especially against one of their rivals, the Yankees, and kind of cool down the Yankees because they've been playing hot for several games. They won several games in a row, and we're starting to get back into the thick of things in the AL East. So it's kind of nice to see the Orioles pump the brakes a little bit on the Yankees' momentum. It's always nice when a team can take out the Yankees, regardless of how early or late it is in the season. So Baltimore's got a lot of fight. Um, so I think that they're gonna play halfway decent baseball during certain stretches, but I think that the reality is that they're not going to go. I think they're still going to be last in their division, but I think that like your Rockies and some of these other teams that are kind of low level, expected not to do well, you're going to see some exciting baseball at times.
Um, so an interesting stat that I found: the New York Yankees, they have not hit three home runs in the same inning until the Indians game this past week. They have not been very successful hitters this coming so far this season. Hitting is where they need to work on. And honestly, I think only scoring three in this game against the Baltimore Orioles, a team that struggles at home, that's just signs that they seriously need to work out their hitting. The next game, the Oakland Athletics, they won. They won today. Where at the Oakland Athletics, they actually won a it was a 2 game series. They were originally on their 13-game winning streak, but if you guys remember from the Sunday pregame, I called, I called it that the Oakland Athletics were going to lose to the Baltimore Orioles in that final game. I called that, and the Orioles ended up winning 8-1. Um, but what are your thoughts on this game in particular?
Well, over the last couple weeks, 2 3 weeks, we've seen the Athletics really put up some great numbers. Put up a lot of runs and everything. So this was a pretty good pitchers duel here. You're talking a 3-2 game. There wasn't too many hits. I think that the A's put up 5 hits or so in the game. But yeah, Oakland. I mean, they're probably, in my opinion, if I had to rank them, I'd probably put them in like the sixth or seventh best team in baseball right now. I mean, they started out really terrible. I think they started out like 1-7 or so, then they won 11 in a row. Then they dropped a game, and now they're back on it again, squeaking by. They're getting decent pitching. Nobody really put on a show today offensively. But yeah, there was some pretty good defense, and I mean the A's are for real. I thought that coming into the season, I really kind of picked the Angels to be kind of a dark horse in that division. Everybody was talking about Houston, but I think that the A's have something here, and they've got excellent defensive play from their first and third baseman. They're getting some great hits at great spots, and yeah, it's just nice to see the excitement in Oakland. But the sad thing for the Angels is pitching. We've been talking about it for over a month ago that the only thing that's really going to hurt the Angels is pitching. They just don't have great stamina and too much to go with their starting pitching right now. But I think that the A's have something going on. They're rolling. They got some really young arms, and I think that they're going to be there for the long haul. I think that they're going to be probably the one carrying this division all season long.
Um, yeah, for so going into this next matchup, the Cardinals they won today. They won a home game playing against the Philadelphia Phillies. Um, they won 4-3. Cardinals are currently sitting at a 13-12 record, while the Philadelphia Phillies are sitting at a 12-13 record. They're sitting even. Phillies, I also called it that the Phillies were going to get blown out by the Colorado Rockies on April 25th, and the Rockies ended up winning that game 12-2. Uh, so this next, so going, what are your thoughts on this particular game here?
Well, this was a tough one for me because I wanted to watch this game and I was going to tune in. I was all ready to dial it in on the Major League Baseball network and everything. And then next thing I know, I get a pop up saying, "Oh, sorry, this game's blacked out." So I couldn't watch it. So I was kind of tapping in to kind of see what was going on from time to time. That's the worst thing is when you're wanting to watch a baseball game on the baseball network and they black it out, even though it's like St. Louis and Philadelphia, which is nowhere near where I live in the state of Oregon. So it was very disappointing that game was I couldn't watch that game live, but that was an outstanding performance by Matt Carpenter today, coming off the bench and getting a big 3-run home run. Matt Carpenter has always been one of my favorite players on the team. He's kind of had to take much of a lesser role this year because, of course, he's not near the player as Nolan Arenado at third base, and he's not near the player that Goldschmidt is at first base. So he doesn't really have a place to play every day. So for him to come in and get a big 3-run knock to seal the game, that was a pretty big moment because my heart goes out to a guy like Matt Carpenter, who's been a starter for almost a decade for the Cards, and now he's just kind of coming in and getting little relief appearances and some pinch hits every now and then. So that was a big win for the Cardinals. I thought that my Cardinals would be playing a lot better overall record wise at this point after picking up Arenado from your boys. and your boys are paying for it. Your boys are paying part of his salary this year. So I mean, nothing better than getting production out of Arenado for free. So, but yeah, I really love this game today. Anytime a team can come in and stick it to the Phillies, that's a good feeling. No matter who it is. So, the most obnoxious fans in all of baseball, the Phillies fans. So, and maybe the Yankees fans, but yeah, it was a big win. It was exciting. It was a great moment for Matt Carpenter, and I loved it. I wish that I could have seen it live, but I saw it later when they showed the highlights on a different on Bleacher Report.
So the next matchup was a very heavy pitchers matchup. Seattle ended up winning this game 1-0. It was an away game, and that one home run. What was it? A run? It was no, it was well, it was not a home run, but it was a run in. Um, Seattle won this one. This happened during the third inning. Um, what are your thoughts on this?
Man, I wasn't quite expecting a big time pitcher's duel out of these two teams. I mean, the Mariners have some pretty good, solid hitters. The Astros still have a pretty stacked lineup with Bregman and Correa and a few other guys in there that can smash the ball around with Brantley and everything. So I wasn't quite expecting a 1-0 game, and I wouldn't say it was necessarily a boring game because I like to see great pitching. But I mean, when you have one run and one run comes in the third inning, it makes for an awfully long game if you're a fan in the stands. One game in the third inning and then 6 innings of nothing. But they got outstanding performances. Seattle, Kikuchi pitched excellent. Graveman came in and got a big save. Not only 2 hits for Houston, which is exceptional. I mean, they've got some 300 plus hitters, average hitters in their lineup. So to hold them to 2 hits was outstanding. So it was really nice to see the Mariners pull off a game like this because normally they're on the opposite end of this. I mean, they lost so many games last season by like a run or two that it was ridiculous. So it's nice to see Seattle kind of being able to put a game like this away, even though there wasn't a lot of action going on from a hitter standpoint.
For those people that are watching this, I have a message for Rob Manfred. This game, Seattle held Houston to 2 hits. That's a true definition of it not being a no-hitter. And yes, I'm referring to Diamondbacks versus Braves. That happened on Monday night. I mean, Chaz Lytle, who came on the show earlier today, he said he used to be a baseball player in the major leagues. He said that was a no hitter. It doesn't matter what inning it was.
Well, what I'm going to say about this, because remember on Monday I was talking about this and then my internet went down and I was kind of mid thought on this. So I want to tell everybody this is my personal thoughts here. Major League Baseball has came up with some pretty insane rules over the past few seasons and trying to change the game, trying to speed up the game and everything. So they all got together, the powers that be in control of Major League Baseball got together and decided that for the sake of double headers, it would be a good idea to have 7-inning games, 9-inning games shortened to 7 innings for some reason. So my personal take is if you're changing the rules that double header games are going to be standard 7-inning games, then if a pitcher pitches no hit baseball through 7 innings, it should stand as a no hitter because that's what the rules was that's how long the games, that's what they agreed upon, was that the games were going to only be 7 innings. So I know that I'm a baseball purist and I would like to see all games be 9 innings, doubleheader or not, but that's not the way that Major League Baseball wanted to roll out this season. They wanted to shorten the game. So I really think that they should go back and give Madison Bumgarner a no-hitter for that because that's the rules that they agreed upon. Just like if they decided that they wanted doubleheaders to be 5 innings, I mean, I don't know what they're doing because he pitched a legitimate no-hitter because this is now the new standard for Major League Baseball when it comes to doubleheader games. So I really think that he got hosed on that because he did pitch a no-hitter based on the rules of how it's played out during doubleheaders. That's my personal take.
I'm gonna give a joke take real quick. I'm not being serious about this. This is joke take. If Madison Bumgarner goes in this next game and does not throws basically no hitter for the first 2 innings, then it should be considered a no hitter because no hitter is a 9 straight inning, right?
Yeah, kind of like how
Yeah.
they add up all the innings when they're keeping track
Yeah.
of scoreless innings. When Oral Hershiser had all that going on.
Yeah.
Oral Hershiser had 56 and a third or something like that scoreless innings. I don't know about the carryover thing, but I definitely think that
Yeah,
for
I was
that
I was
game that he
completely
pitched
joking
against
around
the
about that.
Braves, I think that should have been a no hitter because that's the rule that they put into place.
So let's go into this next game, and this next matchup. Um, this next matchup is the Chicago White Sox. They played against the Detroit Tigers, and they won 3-1. The Tigers are the Tigers. Um, I don't know how to explain it. They've been. I don't know how to explain the city of Detroit at this point because what good team is in the city of Detroit?
Well, the Detroit Shock women's basketball team used to be pretty good.
Well, hold on. You said used to be.
Yeah. Now
Detroit
they're in
Lions
Tulsa.
used to be good back in 1950s.
Yeah. But
Um,
the Lions have a lot to be desired, though. They picked up one of my favorite players today in the draft, in Micah Parsons out of Penn State. So that'll give
that was
them
a
a lot
good
more.
move.
That
That
was a
was.
great move.
I was completely shocked that they did not blow this. That they did not screw up this pick.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, not. I mean, my bad. My bad. They picked up Penny Sewell.
that's true. That's true. They did.
Yeah, but still, that's a good move because it's going to give Jared Goff a lot more protection because he's going to need it because he doesn't have much of a receiving core over there. So yeah,
Uh,
the Lions have a lot to work with right now to get good. The Tigers, as I've said before, they're probably not going to be good for a few years until Casey Mize and Spencer Torkelson start breaking into the lineup. Um,
yeah.
but they got some exciting things going on in Detroit because you got Miggy Cabrera, who is only 10 or so home runs away from hitting the 500 mark. So that's going to be interesting to see if he can get to that this season.
And one other thing to point out, they're hitting a double hitter, and it's bottom of the fifth. Without looking at the scoreboard, have you?
It's
Have you
10 to
looked at this?
nothing, I think.
It's 11-0. It's not even the sixth inning yet, and Chicago's up 11-0 over the Detroit Tigers. So going into this next matchup is the Chicago Cubs. They played against the Atlanta Braves. Cubs won 9-3. Um, now Braves, they're still dealing with the injuries that they have. They're currently sitting at a 12-13 record. Chicago's at 11-14 record. Do you think Chicago has been improving within the past couple of games?
Um,
I take that back because they lost yesterday. They lost yesterday and the day
Yeah, I was
before.
gonna say anytime you got Anthony Rizzo going out to take the mound, I wouldn't call that an improvement on your team, but you did go out and strike out Ace's boy Freddie Freeman, which was pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
So that was exciting, but yeah, they got blown out the other night. I really don't know what to make of the Cubs because 1 minute they can tear it up, and then the next minute they just don't seem to really know who they are. And I keep hearing a lot of chatter that the Mets or somebody that's in the market for a third baseman is going to make a major play for Chris Bryant sometime within the next couple months.
Ooh.
So I keep hearing that Chris Bryant may be on his way out in Chicago, and I don't know exactly what the deal is there because he seems like a great guy and a great ambassador for the city, and he seems like he's got a great friendship with Rizzo and a few other teammates. So I don't really know why he's on the trading block, and I don't know why Aaron Judge is necessarily up for grabs, from the Yankees, other than maybe he's injury prone quite a bit. But yeah, it seems like the Chicago Cubs, they just seem destined to kind of just blow up everything that they had going from their World Series win several seasons ago. Because Chris Bryant, he's still a very solid player. So he's playing good baseball and he fits in very well. But I guess there's some other teams out there that are in desperate need of a defensive third baseman with a lot of pop. And so he might not be with the Cubbies very much longer.
Oh, let's go into this next game. The Dodgers have been concerning. I get it that they're 16-10, but the Dodgers are also 3-7 in their last 10 games. So the Dodgers, they haven't been hitting a lot of home runs as they only hit one home run today. They lost 2-1. I mean, if you were the Dodgers, what do you do at this point?
Well, it's hard to tell what you would do because this team on paper is so stacked and the expectations are so high for them to make another World Series run and pretty much blow out everybody. But as we've seen, that's not quite the case. I mean, San Diego is staying right on their heels. I know that by all metrics and power rankings and stuff, the Dodgers still may be on paper the team to beat. But I think that it's starting to close in a little bit. You got teams like the Padres that are definitely closing in, and they won a series against them not too long ago, and definitely outplayed the Dodgers. So I don't know exactly what you do, because they've got an excellent lineup from the leadoff spot all the way down to the 9-hole, and they've got excellent pitching, excellent starting pitching on paper and everything. So I don't know exactly what I would do, but maybe if some players aren't exactly tearing it up right now, might want to just light a fire under them and maybe bring a few pinch hitters up and give them a few swings or something and see what you got coming from the bench. But I think that everything is going to be okay in Los Angeles. I think they're, I kind of thought that they would have these kind of periods, and it's better to have these kind of periods, early than late in the season. So if you're going to have some growing pains, if you're going to have a 3-7, streak over 10 games or something, it's better to do it in April than in August. So, that's kind of how I feel. But as you know, Nate, I predicted that the Padres were going to be the number one team in the West this year.
The Giants have been a shocking team.
Yeah.
So let's go into this next matchup where it's actually my Rangers. They won today, and it was a home game. They won against the Boston Red Sox. They beat them 4-1. In this matchup, most of the runs, came after the fourth inning. Really, actually, for both teams, Boston scored in the sixth. Texas scored 2 home runs in the sixth as well. Texas, they're currently sitting at last. And Texas is right now 11-15. They have 4 home wins. I need to check that, but I think they have 4 home wins. No, they have 5 home wins. So I guess my question is, do you think? Well, first off, for Boston, just what do you think? What are your thoughts on this game in particular?
Well, I thought that your buddy Old Gibson pitched a pretty good game today. So that was
Definitely not
definitely a
game
bright
one for
spot.
sure.
Huh?
Definitely not opening day for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, but they held the Red Sox in check. I think that Texas is going to be one of those interesting teams. They're a fun team to watch. Some of the best teams to watch aren't necessarily the great teams, but when you can get into a game and you can see some top prospects or some young teams that are starting to develop their talent, it's exciting. Even if the
Definitely,
outcome isn't going to be a win, most of the time, some of these younger teams, um, like the Rangers, the Pirates, the Rockies, teams that are kind of going in and dipping into their farm system a little bit earlier than they like. Some of these teams are so scrappy and stuff and have so much fight in them that that's pretty fun to watch. And so I thought that this was a pretty good win for them today. They got some pretty good pitching. Kennedy came in and closed it out for them, and they held the Red Sox to 1 run, and which a lot can be said for that because as we've seen, Boston has been tearing it up. I mean, their offense with JD Martinez, he's basically, I hate to say it, he might be a comeback player of the year in comparison to what he did last season. He is absolutely horrendous last season, but right
hmm
now he's tearing it up, hitting some big time home runs and everything for the Red Sox. They got a resurgence. I think that getting Alex Cora back in there has really instilled a lot of confidence in that team. So for Texas to come in and shut down a hot Boston Red Sox team,
Oh
that's
yeah,
that's pretty good.
yeah. We gave the Red Sox their second away game loss earlier today. And that was not just not that was not too long ago. That game did not finish long ago. So we already talked um about Tigers and White Sox. How the White Sox are currently beating the Tigers 11-0, and it's currently the top of the sixth. Well, also top of the sixth. This is the final game of the night. The Colorado Rockies, they're tied right now, 3-3. Now, one thing we'll have to say about this, going back to the Dodgers, both of these teams have better records in their last 10 games than the Dodgers do. Both of them. So, who do you have winning this? It's currently 3-3. Who do you have winning this match?
Okay, I lost you for a second here. What game were you talking about? That's 3-3, Nate.
Rockies and Diamondbacks.
Oh man, that's that's a tough call because I know that you're a Rockies fan, and I know that you're pretty pumped up that the Broncos just picked up Patrick Surtain. So
Yeah.
you know what? I'm gonna throw you a bone, and I'm gonna say that I think that your Rockies are gonna pull this one out when it's all said and done.
Hey, so an interesting statement. Um, so the new general manager for the Colorado Rockies, he went to the same high school as my grandpa.
Hmm.
Just a little fun fact there, and I am also gonna go. Also gonna go Rockies here. I'm gonna go 4-3. I think Rockies gonna get one more home run. But that's the only score. The only score left. for this. Um, so that leads off into the next question. Out of this last week, what are your top five teams of the week?
Why don't you take that one first, Nate, and then I'll do mine.
All right.
So I can.
My top five teams of the week. So all of these, there is current. So I'm gonna go number one. Number one, I'm probably going off on a hot take here. I'm gonna go to the Giants. They've been on a roll, currently 7-3 out of their last 10 games. Now, the one thing we'll have to say about this Giants team, though, is that 7 out of their last 9 losses, well, 7 out of their only 9 losses are comeback wins. So even in their games that they lose, they're competitive until the very end. So that's my number one. My number two, I'm going with another 7-3 team. I'm going with the Royals. They're currently at 15-8. They've been on a roll as well. So my number three is also in the same division. Chicago White Sox. My number four. My number four is actually the Athletics. And then my number five, I'll go. That's a tough one. I'm gonna go tie here. First time that's ever done on the full count. I'm gonna go tie here. I'm gonna go Brewers. I'm also gonna go Diamondbacks.
Okay. Sounds pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Even though Diamondbacks are currently not in playoff picture, they still are 7-3 of their last 10 games.
Well, I think for my top five, I got to go out to the National League Central. I think that the Brewers are playing really excellent baseball right now. They've gone 7-3. They're at the top of the division. They're 15-10. They're getting outstanding pitching from Burns, Hader, Woodruff, and a few other guys are providing excellent pitching. So they've been playing really good baseball. And then I'm going to go to the National League West, and I think that surprise here by half a game. The Giants 7-3. They're leading the division by just a few points over the Dodgers. Playing excellent baseball. That move to sign that pitcher. What was his name? Tauschman or?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was a pretty good move. He's paying dividends for him right now. And then of course, you got the Diamondbacks. They're 7-3. They're playing pretty solid. I threw you a bone saying that the Rockies are gonna take them because I think the Blackman or Story is gonna come up big. I just have a feeling that one of those two guys is gonna come up big late in the game for them, and they need it. But yeah, even the Rockies have been playing pretty decent, but I don't have them in my top five. And then in the 4 hole, I got Oakland and then Kansas City in my top five. They're both 7-3, and of course we saw Oakland with that 11 or 12 game win streak. So now they're 16-10 after a 1-7 start through their first 8 games. So that's who I got in my top five.
So, we'll move on to the last topic of the night, and that is the top 5 Milwaukee Brewers of all time. We'll do something we did once on the show, and actually it wasn't this show, but it was the hockey show. We'll rotate. You say your fifth pick. I say my fifth pick. You say your fourth. I say my fourth.
Okay. Are we going top players or top pitchers?
Pitchers.
Okay. Okay. That sounds good.
So what's your number 5?
I'm gonna have to go with Giovanni Gallardo from 2007 to 2014. And he had a 9-5 record in 2007. He was a pretty low ERA pitcher. I think in 2007 he had an ERA of about 2.08. I think that he was pretty good pitcher for him for 7 or 8 seasons.
I'm also going to go with that same guy. Pitcher in 2007 2014. He was, he had possessed one of the game's best power strokes among pitchers. 12 home runs and a 362 career at bats for Milwaukee. And he is the only pitcher to ever homer off Randy Johnson to win a 1-0 duel for the Brewers in 2009, making him the third pitcher in history to throw a shutout, strike out at least 10, and go deep for a only run of the game. So what is your number 4?
This is a fun one. I got Pete Vukovich. Do you remember this guy? Did you ever watch the movie Major League?
No, I haven't. I need to, but I haven't.
Yeah. He played old Clu Haywood, the guy that was hitting those 500-foot home runs off of Charlie Sheen's character while playing for the Yankees. He was just a big burly pitcher, had that big mustache going on. But in 1981 and 82, he compiled a 32-10 record. He was a pretty good guy in the clubhouse, pretty funny. I think that I don't know. I just had Pete Vukovich in there mainly because of the Major League Baseball reference, so the movie reference. So, but he was pretty good in the early '80s for him.
Yeah, I'm laughing because he is also number 4 on my list. Pitched in 1981 to 1986. From 81 to 82, Vucevic compiled like a 32-10 record with through his other numbers were not reflective on a stiffing dominance. Even award-winning 1982 campaign, Vucevic nearly walked as many batters as he struck out. Yet he held the knack to win. So he won a lot. But like when it came to in 1982, his record was like 18-4. But throwing 163 pitches in 11 games late in September, he was 0-4, postseason included for the rest of the year. Which was way to be connected to a rotor cuff injury early in 1983 that would cause him to miss nearly 2 years. So, what is your number 3?
Well, I got a guy that didn't pitch there very long, but he was a legend for the A's. But I got old Rollie Fingers in there from 81, 82, 84, and 85. A lot of people just remember him from his glory days. with the A's, and everything. But he was a Hall of Famer. He won the MVP and Cy Young Award in 1981, and he led the league with 28 saves and posted a 1.04 ERA. And he was a big part of their 1982 pennant-winning team too with the Brewers. So he put up good numbers with the Brewers. He wasn't there very long, but I got to put him in the 3 hole.
I'm laughing because are we reading off the same list?
I don't know.
Rolly Fingers is my number 3. So out of his 17 years during his career, I don't think any other season was better than 1981. In a season cut in third by a player strike, Fingers led the AL with 28 saves that produced a minuscule of a 1.04 ERA, lifting the team to its first ever postseason berth while becoming the first reliever to win both MVP and Cy Young awards in the same season. What is your number 2?
Number 2, I'm going back to 2001 to 2008. I got Ben. How do I fold fitted sheets? Ben Sheets. Ben Sheets led the United States to a gold medal in the 2000 Olympics, and then he found himself starting in the opening week of the 2001 season. So he had quite the turnaround from the Olympics, and then starting the first week of the baseball season in 2001. So he didn't stick around in the minors too long, but he was an outstanding college pitcher, and he was outstanding Olympic gold medalist. And in 2004, he had one of the best performances in team history, going 237 innings with a 2.70 ERA. He had 264 strikeouts and an astounding 8.25 Ks per walk ratio, the 7th best mark in Major League Baseball history. So he was a pretty solid performer for him. He finished his career slightly under 500 for wins and losses, but I think he retired in 2010 or 11 or so. But for the 7 or 8 seasons that he was with the Brewers, he is a well liked and great player on the team. So
you did not take my number 2. He was also not my number 1. I'm going way back. I'm going to 1977. Mike Caldwell. So for 6 years in the National League, Caldwell bounced around 3 teams because he was frustrated. With stretches of promise consistently interrupted, he had elbow problems during those times. Even through the first half of the season with the Brewers after a trade from Cincinnati in 1977, he showed little sign of progress or hope. However, 1978 happened. Caldwell broke out with blindsiding success, posting a 22-9 record with a 2.36 ERA with a prestigious 293.1 innings. He led AL with 23 games, shut out the World Series bound Yankees 3 times, and finished second in AL Cy Young vote. Hitters complained he was too good to be true, with multiple accusations of the slider was in fact a spitter. So, what is your number 1?
Well, I kind of wanted to put old Dan Plesac in there at the number 1 spot, but I just couldn't do it because I had to put in good old Teddy Higuera. Higuera from 1985 to 1991, and then he pitched 93 to 94. So in 1985, Teddy Higuera hit the ground running, and he finished second in the Rookie of the Year balloting after going 15-8 and finishing 8th in the league in WHIP. The next season was arguably the best in the history of the team because he won 20 games for a team that finished 6th in their division while placing 2nd in ERA, 9th in WHIP, 7th in innings pitched, and 6th in strikeouts. So, he was a pretty solid performer for them from the mid 80s to the early 90s. Probably one of their most beloved players, and their most beloved pitcher probably of all time. And that's who I have in the number 1 spot. But I know if we did this list 10 years from now, we may be saying have a completely different top 5 because we got Josh Hader over there. We got Woodruff over there. We got Burns over there. So there's a lot of deep pitching right now. But for right now, I got to go with Teddy Higuera in the number 1 hole.
Yeah, so do I. We have outside of the number 2 hole, we have the same. We have the same list. So that does it. Any final comments before we give this a close?
Well, I just want to give a shout out to my buddy Mess Around Dave Esparza. Dave, the Bears are back, baby. They've been looking for a quarterback. Okay. They've been going after a quarterback for years and years and years. And I think that they finally got themselves a good one. I think they kind of swung and missed on Mitch Trubisky, but they made a move today, made a play with Freddie Henderson's Giants. I think the Giants are happy with what they got out of the deal too. So they picked up a really good draft pick, even though they bumped down to the 20 spot. But yeah, you can't go wrong with Kadarius Toney there, Freddie. So a little NFL draft news there. A couple shout outs to Mess Around and Freddie. And that's all I got other than look out for my Colts because Quiddy Pay is in the house.
Did the draft finish already? Buccaneers are on the clock, so that's actually the last pick. So since we'll go ahead. I'll go ahead. I'm gonna go check this out. Jaguars went for running back, which I'm not surprised. However, I am going to say that Christian Darrisaw. Could you believe that he dropped down all the way to pick number 23?
No, I can't, but that was an excellent pick for the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, they've got Kirk Cousins isn't going to be having to run for his life as much as he has in the past few seasons with him. I mean, he's an excellent pass defender, offensive tackle. So, I mean, he's going to buy Cousins a lot of time. And, I mean, yeah, they got themselves a great one. I really thought that Darrisaw was probably going to go at least in the top 15.
I thought he was going to go number 13 to the Chargers.
It's been an interesting draft, I'll tell you.
Yeah, it is. So they haven't really announced their pick. They're on the clock. So this has been Nate the Great and Greg Hot Seat Galno signing out for now.